Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. And by Wyndham Garden Lafayette.
From Cafe Vermilionville in Lafayette, we're out to lunch with creative business consultant Aileen Bennett. It's business, Acadiana style.
Hi, I'm Aileen Bennett. Welcome to Out to Lunch. When we talk about successful business, we usually talk about the idea behind it. We tend to do that because a single moment of inspiration is more exciting to talk about than all the years of hard work it takes to build a business. But there's also another quality that's vital in making the leap from inspiration to action: courage. You can have the best idea in the world for a business, but if you don't have the courage to take the leap and turn your idea into reality, the courage to keep going through the tough times, then you simply won't have a successful business. Maria Ducote had the courage to walk away from a safe career to start a business she knew little to nothing about. Maria was a teacher for 14 years and an assistant principal for 9 years. In 2010, she was at an education conference in Baltimore and she went on a food tour. That's when the inspiration hit. A food tour would be a business that would work in Lafayette. Maria thought somebody ought to do that. The somebody, it's turned out, was going to be herself. For over 7 years now, Maria's company, Cajun Food Tours, has been running daily food tours in Lafayette and around Acadiana. Maria Ducote, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
Jada McGee was born and raised in Kaplan, Louisiana. When she was 17, Jada started designing, sewing, and selling children's clothing. She sold her clothes at farmers markets and used the money to help support herself through college. Then Jada opened a store, Blush Boutique in Abbeville. Blush Boutique eventually left children's clothing behind and specialized in women's fashion. But by 2017, like a lot of retail in America, business at Blush Boutique had slowed down. Jada was thinking that after 10 years she would have to close, but she didn't want to do that. So instead, knowing nothing about web design or social media marketing, Jada decided to build her own website and create a marketing campaign based on video-driven social media. The strategy worked. Blush Boutique in Abbeville bounced back and today is a booming business. Jada McGee, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you for having me.
Maria, when you started Cajun Food Tours, you'd spent decades in education as a teacher and an assistant principal. You had no background in business and you had no culinary experience. If someone had come to you for advice back then and told you these circumstances, you might have reasonably advised them that quitting a good career to become an entrepreneur in a field you know nothing about is a recipe for disaster. I'm sure that option crossed your mind. So looking back, what was it that gave you the courage to take that leap and launch Cajun Food Tours?
Well, you're absolutely right. When the idea first hit me, it was like it sounded crazy to me, and I really tried for a long time, about 3 months, to pray the idea away. And
Lord, give this to someone else.
Yes, because and it was making me sick. But the idea kept my brain was figuring out every detail of the business, even though I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. My brain was like, I couldn't think of anything else, and I wasn't sleeping. I didn't sleep for 3 months.
I think that's a sign.
And I had every detail worked out, from how it was going to be paid for, to how I was going to approach the restaurants, to how the inside of my bus would look. I mean, every detail. Before I even mentioned it to my husband, I had all these details worked out. I don't think it was like a flash of courage, that's for sure. I think it was after 3 months making myself sick. I had to give in to the idea, and just try it. And that was kind of how I went into it, was I'm just going to try this. And I'm going to try it until a door closes, I didn't expect it to work, really.
I didn't expect that door to be the bus door on your first
tour.
On
my first tour. That was the first door that closed, honestly. Yeah. Yep.
Nice. Jada, one of the most threatened industries in the United States today is retail.
Yes.
Massive competition from Amazon and e-commerce search is driving down prices, changing shopping habits, and forcing some of the most successful retailers to close stores all around the country. Not only are you still in business, but Blush Boutique in Abbeville is doing better than ever. It would seem that whatever you're doing might be a lesson for American retail in general. You attribute your success to a website and Facebook, but it can't quite be that simple. There are millions of Facebook pages and tens of millions of websites. So tell us, in a little more detail, what specifically are you doing online that's driving people into your store?
I always try to think about what is the X factor, what sets me apart from everyone else. And honestly, if I think about it, it's just being honest with people. We talked about this earlier, but I tried to be what I thought I needed to be. I tried being, picture perfect, and all the pictures were perfect, and all the clothing matched perfect. And it was what everyone else was doing and getting things that everyone else had. But I realized if you're just really honest with people and you're like, hey, I'm wearing comfy clothes and it's fashionable, you can wear it to go shopping, you can wear it to take care of your kids, you can wear it to work. That's what people really want. They want someone that's honest and provides really good customer service. So that's what I really try to focus on. It is pretty much less about the clothes, but more about who you are as a person and just really providing really great customer service and honest customer service. If I know something is not going to fit someone, I'm honest with them. I'm not just going to try to sell you something. I try to be honest as possible.
And you use Facebook Live as a huge tool?
I have, which is so scary because there is no room for mess ups. If you mess up, everyone sees it.
But everyone just loves you that little bit more, right?
I think so. One time I was doing one, the internet went out and it was like crashing and I had to keep getting back on. And I think at some point I said, Jesus, take the wheel or something like that. And, I may have cussed a little bit on there too. And someone messaged me the next day and was like, my husband and I were watching you and we had the best time. We turned off the show we were watching and just watched it Facebook Live.
So how often do you do a Facebook Live and how many people do you have watching?
I do it, with the holidays, I kind of slowed down a little bit. But it was every Monday. This past Tuesday I did one. I had to reschedule. I had a kid sick, whatever. But I do it every week. And at any given point, I have about 200, 300 people, and then up to 3,000, 4,000 shares on it. So it really just depends. I had people 2 weeks later saying, hey, I saw that video you did, because obviously once it's on Facebook, it's there forever.
Yeah, Facebook Live it doesn't disappear. It stays there as a video.
It stays there forever. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I was just watching it. Do you still have this available? So even if they're not watching in that moment, they can go back and watch it.
Can you delete it if you want to?
You can delete it if you want to, but what's the fun in that?
Yeah, the whole
just wondering, keep all the mess ups.
The live thing. How do you have so many people watching and so many people sharing when you're a small store in Abbeville?
Because it becomes an incentive. I try to say, if you share the video, you can be entered to win a prize. So every week I give a prize away, someone that's shared. Also, if you buy something on the live feed while you're actually watching, it's free shipping. If you buy it after the live feed, then I have to charge shipping. But that's kind of like an incentive to watch, and I try to help
buy
everyone
now rather than put it off.
Right,
it's all about
exactly.
getting that decision.
Because that's another thing I've learned. If you don't respond immediately and quickly, people forget.
We never do it later.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind.
How do you find the people to come on your tours? Is it all tourists? Is it locals? Where are they?
That's a really big question because I do a lot of things, I guess, but on internet advertising and being present on the internet and working really, really hard on my website's SEO to make sure that you come up when people Google things to do in Lafayette. The second part of your question, almost half of my guests are local, believe it or not. That was another thing that really surprised me. I never saw that coming. About half of them are what I would call either local or semi-local, meaning they either live right here in Acadiana or they drove in from for the day, like maybe from Alexandria.
All of my friends are going and they love it. By the
yeah?
way,
Really? You haven't come though?
I've never gone, but a lot of my friends are talking about it.
I get a lot of
didn't even
people
know it
from Abbeville.
existed for a long time.
Because
but
it's a chance for locals to try. Explain what the tours are. You stop at a number of different restaurants and have a snack or an appetizer.
Exactly. We have I'm going to have this little cozy bus. Everybody loves the bus. We have other tours too that are walking and not on the bus, but everybody loves the bus, especially the locals.
Because we see the bus driving around town.
And
it's
really
cozy
visible
on
the inside. If neither of you have been on it, it's everybody faces each other. That's why it's wonderful. Because I just had my favorite kind of tours when I have a few locals and people from all over the world, all together, sitting on my bus, facing each other, visiting with each other. While we're bebopping around Acadiana, and I'm doing all the history and why our culture is why our culture is what it is, and why our food is what it is, and then of course we're stopping at about 5 different restaurants to eat food, so we try, like you said, a little sample, a couple of little things at each.
And how do you choose where they stop? Do the restaurants bribe you? Do you pay? Who pays who?
I have about 30 different restaurant partners, and every tour is just kind of based on a rotation and which restaurants are open at that time, and the traffic. Every tour is based on the traffic. You have to go kind of against the traffic flow to get around, because a tour only lasts about 3 hours. So we try to go to 5, and we're going to 5 places in 3 hours.
And so how do the restaurants get on the list? Because they all want to do that.
I always say yes. This is the way you get on the list is to be one of my favorite restaurants. And so if a restaurant calls me,
that.
If a restaurant, because when I first started, I started with 12 restaurants. My 12 restaurants.
And did you just call them and say, "Can I come and talk to you?"
Sort of like that. I started out by sending them a letter telling them what, and I had my letterhead printed, and also it looked like I knew what I was doing, even though, like you established earlier, I didn't. But and I said, "Here's what Cajun Food Tours can do for you. Here's what we'd like you to do for us." And then I set up an appointment to try to meet with the owner or the GM of each restaurant to talk about what we wanted to do. But
so they get an influx of people who are trying a little bit of sample to hope that they will come back to the restaurants.
Exactly what it does for the restaurants is that, and even like I said, half of my guests are local, so that's icing on the cake for my restaurants, that these people not only might just come back once or twice while they're in town, but they may become lifelong customers, and they probably will, because I only use awesome restaurants. So every place I take them is absolutely awesome. I have very high standards for someone I put on my tour. Like I said, I started with 14. I have about 40 now when you add all the different tours together. But like I said, it's my favorite restaurants. But so if a restaurant calls me and says, "Hey, how do we get on your tour?" I say, "Well, you have to be one of my favorite restaurants. Where are you? What do you do?" I'll start checking it out, and I'll let you know if you become one of my favorite restaurants.
So now they have to audition.
Well, they don't even know it's me. I'll go in with my friends, and I don't ever introduce myself the first time I go to restaurants. Yeah, so.
You're like a food critic.
Sort of, but secret, but not
secret,
really.
secret.
But just very secretly.
You
Like
won't
if I
be able
don't
to-
care for a place, I just never mention anything.
You won't be able to do that for much longer. People know your face, and they're going to know who you are
Wow.
eventually. And
Yeah.
But we're willing to go and test
incognito.
restaurants for you, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, I have so
definitely.
many people on my research and
I can do
development.
that job
we,
for you.
We call that research and development, and everybody says, "Can I be on your research and development team?"
You're listening to Out to Lunch. I'm Aileen Bennett. I'm talking with Maria Ducote from Cajun Food Tours and Jada McGee from Blush Boutique in Abbeville. So, Jada, why do you still have a bricks and mortar store if online is so successful?
Well, one day I calculated, how many people are coming in? What's the average sales? What's the average sales of online?
You actually sat down and...
Yes, actually sat down and did it, which I don't do book stuff too often, so this was a special occasion. So I sat down, I was
I
like...
love that you just looked at book stuff.
Book stuff. My husband usually does the book stuff, But I sat down, I looked at it, and I said, maybe I can close the store. One, I have to have expenses there, obviously. I can cut that out. Then I looked at it, and since the website was doing better, more people were coming in the store. And they would say, instead of shipping my stuff, save your money on shipping, I'll just go pick it up at the store. I might want to look around. So that's kind of how it happened. So now we actually doubled our sales in the store, and now we have this whole other avenue of, money.
And you'd need a place to keep all that stuff anyway. And
yeah, my
send
husband
it
won't
out.
let me keep it at home, and
that's
I'd end
the
up
face
wearing
of
it if it was home.
The face of your business. I mean, to be able to, that people can go and meet
Exactly.
you. That's so important.
Well, you say that, but my husband and I travel around for his job, so I'm not actually in the store all the time. That's another reason why I started the Facebook Lives, because people weren't seeing me. And they were like, "Well, where'd you go? You were always there." And I'm like, "Well, now I travel around with my husband."
But
Now
even
I'm
if they-
Facebook Live.
Yeah, I was like, "But now you can see me on Monday nights. I'm like a TV show."
But even if they don't get to meet you in the store, they know that you chose everything and it's your
Yes.
personality that's stamped on all the
I
decisions.
tell everyone, and again, very honestly, I try everything on that comes in the door. So I know how it's going to fit. I definitely don't have a size 2 body shape. So I know how it's going to fit, quote unquote, a real woman, someone with curves, had kids, whatever. I know how it's going to fit. I know how it's going to wear. I know if it's a good quality or not. And I can give that information to my customers. And then a lot of times I'll take videos of myself, trying things on, and I'll post it, and people like seeing it. I know it sounds really crazy, but
No, we like that personal thing. It's
Right.
what we're all craving. The more stores get more
well, you can't go to
impersonal.
Dillard's. You can't go to Dillard's and
And
say,
get what
"Hey,
you're
could you try that
offering."
on for me? I don't
Right,
feel like
right.
it."
And take
It would be great,
a
though.
video and just right.
Yeah, just send it
And
to
send
me.
it to
I'll
me.
think about it
Right.
later, At 3 a.m. I'll shop, whatever. But that's really the beauty of Facebook, and we're able to do it. And Facebook and the website, but I say Facebook because that's kind of where I stay.
Maria and Jada, this is part of the show that we call Your Brother-in-Law. You're finally getting a bit of time to yourself, getting a mani-pedi. When your phone rings, it's your brother-in-law. He normally only calls when he needs relationship advice, but this time it's different. This time your brother-in-law has a business proposition for you. Maria, your brother-in-law says he can help you build on the success of Cajun food tours. It's pretty simple, and he can make you both a ton of money. Cajun booze tours. The name says it all, from Fred's in Mamou
like
to the
that
Bayou
already.
Rum Distillery. There are so many great places to get a drink in Acadiana. With the right approach, your brother-in-law says, you and he could turn Acadiana into the Napa Valley of liquor. Your brother-in-law's prepared to quit his job at Panera Bread and throw himself into Cajun booze tours full-time. What do you tell him?
Well, that's funny that you say that because everybody and their grandma have recommended to me that I should do booze tours, and so
I recommend it also.
And
just
so,
saying.
okay, and this is my answer. That's what party buses are for. My second answer is that is not my passion. If you get on my bus and you take my Cajun food tour, you will see my passion. I promise you'll see my
Because you
passion.
talk about the history of the place. And
I am passionate about this culture. I am passionate about Acadiana. I am passionate about my home. And while my tours offer the opportunity for everybody to have a drink or two, having everybody just all about booze and all about being wasted and not about the culture and not about the food culture and not about that's just not my passion. And it might be somebody's, and I would tell my brother-in-law, good luck, and I'll help you, I'll help you establish that, but you're going to have to buy your own bus because I don't want my bus smelling the next morning on my
can't
food
get that
tour
out.
like what it would smell like if I had done a booze tour the night before,
And what I love about you
You
can now
can get
say
a drink or two. I didn't
you
know
can.
that.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. And you can bring it on the bus too.
That's good.
Yeah, got
you
it.
definitely can say this is your passion because all the things you've done in your life add up to this. You do education and
right.
you did food service and you did PR
That's right.
and all of those things combined
That's right.
and make this the perfect
That's
thing
right.
for you.
And when I was in education, I taught Louisiana history, and I believe that's where I became passionate about our unique area of Louisiana. I think that's when my passion really started to grow.
And if anyone could see the look in her eyes right now, you can tell this is
The
definitely her
hand
passion.
movements and the eye contact.
Jada, your brother-in-law says he has a great idea, a men's version of Blush Boutique, Blush Boys, and he's spelling boys with a Z, by the
of
way.
course.
Your brother-in-law says there's no store in the whole of Acadiana, even in Lafayette, where you can get that super sharp men's fashion. He's sure that if you can finance him, he can make Blush Boys a must-shop experience for all the men who are married to or dating the customers of Blush Boutique. What do you tell your brother-in-law? Is he onto something? Will you let him share your Facebook Lives?
Absolutely not. One, because boys is only spelled with an S, not a Z. And two, because I've worked with family before. And whenever I first started out Blush, I did have a partner, and she was a cousin of mine, and now we don't speak. So there's a reason why you don't work with family, you don't work with close friends.
Or anyone who spells boys with a Z?
Or anyone that spells bar with a Z. Sorry if I offend anyone. But while I do think Abbeville needs a men's clothing store, I think that would be amazing. But no, I don't work with family. It's just a rule. Never going to change. Never going to happen.
So is menswear something you would go into at any point?
No, I don't know anything about menswear. Maybe my husband, that would be a good area for him. But I have thought about doing like preteen clothes again. I did children's clothes, and that was really fun, but all my kids are getting older. So now as they kind of enter that like tween and teenage age, I'd really like to have something for them that was like modest.
And body types, because
Agreed.
those kids a lot of times that age struggle with their different body types
Of
and
course.
while they're developing and all that.
Of course.
So that would
And then again, like something that's appropriate. I've gone to the mall and I see teenagers with crop tops. Yeah, not okay. That's not okay. So I'd really like to have something that was with young women with respect for themselves.
And your clients already trust you, and they're often in the same situation as you, as
Right.
looking for those things. And once they know you, they there's that trust built, and so
Right, and there's a building available, like two things down. I could just, walk back and forth. That'd be perfect.
That's a great idea.
I've been thinking
Oh,
about
like
it.
two separate shops.
Two separate
One for-
shops. I wouldn't put it in the shop. I'd like to have two separate ones, really
I
to have
love
like
it.
a place just for them, and then I thought
That's
it'd
an
be fun.
untapped market. I
Yeah.
believe.
So
It
both
is.
of you have started these amazing businesses. Maria, you're like the SEO, like I'm going to do this, and you're Facebook Live. If you ran each other's businesses, what would you do?
Oh, eat all day. I want to eat all the things.
Listen, one of the
And wear
things-
my stretchy pants
I do
while
not.
I do
I
it.
do not eat on tour. There's a lot of research and development. I always say I've eaten plenty of everything that you will eat on my tour, but I don't eat on tour for a couple of reasons. One, I probably wouldn't fit in a bus seat
I was
anymore.
expecting
if I-
I'd do a live version of the tour so people can see what fun we're
Right.
having, but it's about eating apparently.
Right. I mean, they all eat, but I, yeah. I'm
I
not
just
gonna
had an
eat on the
idea.
tour.
We could do like a boutique tour bus, and you could go to all the boutiques in, Acadiana or Lafayette
Yeah.
or whatever it is. That would be cool.
You could have a fashion show on the bus between
That's it.
restaurants.
I don't know. It's an idea. Always thinking.
I like these ideas. So, Marie, you get some interesting characters on your bus, I'm guessing.
Occasionally, yeah. That'd probably be one of the things that if I talked about, we'd have to cut out. No, I'm just kidding.
Tell us.
No,
You get a
just-
lot of Canadians, and then Australians are the second most common tourists.
Yeah, I think I had mentioned that. A lot of Canadians when we're talking about international. I mean, the most.
We understand the Canadians.
The greatest tourism numbers are other states in the U.S. But when we're talking internationally, Canadians first. Then I believe Australia is right behind that, and then the U.K. for international. I don't know. We have a big. I think our LCDC, our
Lafayette Travel.
travel. I believe they do a lot to bring people there. I think they have a relationship.
And why do they come here?
For the music and the food, literally the music and the food, and
We just
I
have to add boutiques
I have
onto that, and
locals
we're
That's
good.
it. Well,
Yeah, really.
people,
And-
the people, that all counts.
and the festivals and and it is the people that make all that.
It's our
It is
personalities.
the people that make the food and the music and the festivals, and like you said, the people talk about how, but they don't know until they get here. They're not coming for the people, but once they come, they can't believe how friendly this area is and how welcoming this area is.
And you're often the first local they meet, I'm guessing.
Sometimes, yeah,
That's a lot of
sometimes, and
pressure.
it is so fun. Oh, that is what makes me love this business. After I've done tomorrow, I'm doing my 1,200th tour, and okay, I haven't done all of them, but I've done probably 1,000 of
You
them
did the
myself.
first 700
I did
by
about the
yourself.
first 700 by myself, and so I've probably done close to 1,000 of them. But you just hit on what, like me being, I don't know, like the liaison or
The face of Acadiana.
yeah, like to be able to turn people on to this area, people who have never had crawfish or don't even know what boudin is, or think they've had gumbo, but they had it in Texas, you know. And then
Or
they're
New
like, oh, I don't
New
like
Orleans
it.
is
Yeah,
not
they're
the
like, they
same.
come on, yeah, we had gumbo on our way in from California. We stopped in Texas and had that. We didn't care for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you didn't, but I'm gonna introduce you to some real gumbo.
So
This is gumbo with EAUX at the end. It's totally different.
Jada, practical question. Where do you get the clothes that you sell in your stores, or is that a trade secret?
Not a trade secret. Believe it or not, I've never been to a market. I've only done online. So basically, I feel like I'm a personal shopper. So what I do is I go online, these wholesale websites, and I find things, and it's kind of harder online, because you don't know how something's going to fit, but I really have to. After a few years of experience now, I know how things fit. I know, what my clientele is and what they want. And a lot of times on Facebook, I'll put a poll out. Hey, I'm ordering solid T-shirts. Everybody likes the shirts. What colors y'all want? and they'll tell me. And so I'll order those shirts, and then they buy them because they told me they wanted those colors. I don't have to guess.
That's brilliant.
And I know that, yeah, it's brilliant, but it's so simple. Just really asking people, hey, what do you want? Because I'll get it if you want it. And I had posted a picture of these like velvet pants one time, and I'm like, hey, I like these. Is anybody else? And they're like, yeah, and they sold out within an hour of buying them. So it's like people just really want to have a personal relationship with the person buying the clothes.
And it's about trust. We buy things on the internet, but they know you and they trust you, and
Right.
they're really buying your style for themselves.
Yeah. If something doesn't, something comes back and the material isn't done well or has some loose stitching, I'll send it back. I'm not going to sell that. I'm not going to put that in my store. I'm not going to put that on anyone.
Sometimes inspiration hits you when you least expect it. On the other side of the coin, challenges can come along when you least expect them. Being able to recognize a good idea when you hear it and being able to ride it out through the tough times when they happen is what sorts the men from the boys, or the women from the girls in this case. Maria and Jada, you're both inspirations, and you're also extremely dedicated and hardworking. Congratulations on your many triumphs today. I look forward to following both of your continued success. Thank you for taking the time to join me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you for having me.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been Maria Ducote, the owner of Cajun Food Tours, and Jada McGee, the owner of Blush Boutique in Abbeville. You can find out more about Maria's tours and Jada's fashions by following the links on our websites, krvs.org and itsacadiana.com. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Morrell. Our researchers are Anne Christian and Ali Coates. If you want to know what we all look like, you can find photos from this show on our website, itsacadiana.com, and on our It's Acadiana Facebook page. These photos were taken by Gwen Oquam. You can get this show and past shows as a podcast wherever you get podcasts, including Spotify. And you can find all of our podcasts at itsacadiana.com. You can also keep up with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You'll find those links on our website, itsacadiana.com. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsacadiana.com and KRVS 88.7 FM. I'm Aileen Bennett. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the lunch table for more business Acadiana style on Out to Lunch.
Out to Lunch Acadiana is recorded live over lunch at Cafe Vermilionville in Lafayette. Cafe Vermilionville is open Monday to Friday for lunch and 6 nights a week for dinner, with a courtyard that sets the scene for fine Louisiana cuisine. The Out to Lunch Acadiana theme music, Encore Monsieur Nice Guy, is written by Mitchell Foreman and performed by Mitchell Foreman and Andre Michaud. Out to Lunch Acadiana business consultants are Pete Prados from Innovate Acadiana and Destin Ortego from The Opportunity Machine. Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Short & Associates, legal recruiters in Louisiana and Texas. Support for Out to Lunch Acadiana comes from the Wyndham Garden Lafayette, located off Pinhook near Khalees Saloom. Wyndham Garden Lafayette is a pet and family-friendly hotel with reception space for large and intimate events, free parking, free Wi-Fi, and a free shuttle within 3 miles that includes the airport and downtown restaurants.